Teresa Palmer, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Aw.
I just want to dive straight into this
Yeah.
movie because it's so specific and so ambitious, but the thing that I really gravitated towards with your performance is that you portray this kind of compulsion with a lot of nuance. And I've seen a lot of films before where it's like really kind of over the top and a bit melodramatic. This is really the inverse of that. And I'm curious, what was the work that you did in achieving that?
Thank you for that, firstly. We just wanted it to feel really grounded in reality. So it was just this ongoing conversation between myself and our director, Marcel, our writer, Becca, and then the whole team at Made Up Stories. So I just went and really looked at videos of people navigating similar things. And there was this one woman in particular on YouTube, and I watched her. She would talk all her inner thoughts out loud, and it was fast and really rapid fire, and she'd talk about these spirals. She'd have spirals and she'd come back down again. And so it's not always there bubbling beneath the surface. It sort of comes in and out. And we just wanted that to feel as real as possible so that folks watching the movie can feel like their particular anxiety is represented.
Definitely, and I think the other thing that needs to feel really genuine in a story like this is, the romance, the chemistry.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, generally, like, what is your sort of approach when it comes to establishing chemistry with your scene partner?
I just love to get to know my scene partner as well as possible. Sometimes you're meeting them 3 days before you start the shoot. You don't have as long a time to get to know them. But it's just about spending time, like quality time, hearing about their way, the loves of their life, like what's going on in their world. Just getting a rhythm and an understanding of how they work as a person and what our chemistry is like together. What things do we have in common? What can we put on screen that you'll be able to feel beneath the scripted moments? And Joe and I had lots of things in common. We both liked a particular kind of music. We also had a very similar sensibility and sense of humor. So we giggled so much. We were always laughing. And that sort of energy and vibrancy, I think, bleeds into the movie. And so then when we're having to do crazy wild dances in front of each other, we're ad-libbing and throwing in silly things and we're just making fun of each other. And then when I saw the final edit, I was like, oh, all that stuff in between is in the movie, which is excellent.
So I'm curious, with something like that, is that something that you find gets a little bit easier to do, sort of the more credits you amass? I imagine, your first few roles, that could be quite daunting. But now, when you're a bit more seasoned and you've done this, project after project after project, does it get simpler? Do your techniques refine themselves a little?
Yeah, I remember when I first started acting, I had no idea what I was doing. And it was maybe my second American movie, and I was in the film with Topher Grace. And Topher was like, all it is you just are playing a person, a real person. So all you have to do is act like a real person would and say the lines in the most natural way you can possibly say them. And it was the most freeing piece of advice that I think I've had my whole career. Was like, just be natural. Like, just make it as natural as possible. And I sort of carried that throughout my career. And then you refine and you push things where you need to push them, and you just get better with time, which is really nice. And I'm pretty personable in general. I love to connect with people. It's one of the things that I love most in life. And so as long as I can find a way through to connect with my co-star, we can usually find something that lights the screen up.
Yeah, sure. And some of the other themes that the film tackles is, you sort of your mental health and anxiety, conditions like that. And like it delves into, the impacts of whether to take medication or whether not to, like the pros and cons of therapy, and I guess sort of how you would deal with a mental health condition and those in your circle, how they try and help you. It's pretty hefty material, and it's pretty common. And I was curious, like, are you ready for the responses that this film will receive from those communities? Have you already received some feedback from those who have seen it?
Yeah, we premiered at Toronto, so we had a lot of feedback after those screenings, and there was just an overwhelming amount of praise for the film, for the representation, how her anxiety was handled so delicately throughout the film. And I think when you make a movie like this, you do open yourself up to everyone's interpretation of the film, whether it's positive or negative or whatever. So I think we are all ears, and we hope it really resonates. So far, the feedback has just been so positive. And I really love that people are able to see themselves represented on screen. And that's been just the beautiful perk of this. Outside of the romance, it's just this other side of this movie that has just been really meaningful.
Definitely. Just the quickest little thing I want to throw in before I go. Now, word has just come that you've joined God of War, a television series. Congratulations. I know you can't give too many details away, but it's a big game. I'm wondering, have you played it before, or are you about to receive a crash course?
I am currently playing it, and my boys, when it looked like I was getting this job, I got my boys a PlayStation, and they started playing it, and my younger son's almost finished all of God of War. That's how good he is at it. I think he's got 60 hours of playtime at the moment. And so it's great because they get really excited when my character pops up, and it's really cool. I am overwhelmed with gratitude that I booked this job, and also something that my boys are excited about.
Definitely. That's a good note to end on. I could talk to you for another hour, but we got to keep the train rolling. But thank you so much for your time. This has been a really lovely conversation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Edition opens in Australian cinemas on the 29th of January. So check out our review, which is up on the site now. And remember, like it, follow it, right here at Switch.